That was horrible. I think we're doing... How did you clap?
And
Marker? I am Derek.
Hi, I'm Isaac. This is That Was Horrorble.
Okay, oh, look who's... Ah! Bah!
You're kidding.
Bah!
You didn't tell me he was coming to visit.
Yeah, so...
Bahead is here. Everyone, Bahead Bex is here.
You may notice something a little different about him.
Yeah, what is that?
It's... He doesn't look so good. He's looking a little pale.
No, he looks a little sick. Is he okay?
He died.
What?
But...
You didn't... When were you going to tell me Bahead died?
But, well, I didn't have to tell you because he smoked so much weed.
Uh-huh.
Pothead Rex.
Who gave him Pothead Rex?
I don't know. But he smoked so much weed that he didn't have to go to hell.
Oh.
Yeah, he was like halfway there. And then he was just like too lazy to go the rest of the way. So he just turned around and came on back.
Now, Derek, where could he have learned a thing like that?
Probably from watching stoner movies.
Probably from watching stoner movies like Idle Hands from 1999.
Idle Hands from 1999.
All right, Bahead, thank you. Or Pothead Rex, I don't know. You can go. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. I love you. Hope he's
You
okay.
love him?
Did you duct tape his head back on?
I did,
okay.
Yeah. Also, you may next time you see him, he doesn't have any legs anymore. Just like don't talk about it though, because he gets a little.
Is he sensitive about it?
He gets a little Baja mug about it.
Oh no, that was terrible.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to the podcast.
It's been years since we've talked to you all. It's been one whole week.
Feels
it's been 7
like
days.
Centuries.
Which is just like so sad.
It's so sad. We missed you.
I hope you've been doing okay since last week, which was a movie that we also watched.
Yeah.
How are you doing since last week?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to discuss another one. We got some hot topics for you today.
I'm not gonna this was our therapy session. I was checking on you.
No, I'm good. Let's go. Just keep moving. If I keep it in go mode, then the sad can't come.
All right. So this week we watched Idle Hands from 1999, written by
someone.
Ooh, I erased it. Terry Hughes and Ron Milbauer.
I erased it. You turned into like a brass instrument for a second.
I was
I
playing
think that's
a
what
note.
Blue from Blue's Clues suffers from.
Is that true? Wait, is that why he's so blues?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a trombone.
Playing the Blues Clues. Ooh, that's nice. I like that.
Where was I? What were we doing?
I don't know. You're telling me
Bahead,
about it.
come back.
No, he's fine.
Okay.
When he comes back, I'm going to talk about his legs and feel bad.
Oh, I think he heard you. I heard him outside the door. He's running.
What else happened about this movie?
All right, we're going to just start over. Terry Hughes and Ron Milbauer wrote this movie, and it was directed by Rodman Flender. These all seem like fake names.
I was just about to say none of those names sound real. These are all fake men.
Hello, my name is Rodman.
Rodman. Rodman what? Rodman Flender.
It's like someone gets arrested, and they're like, "What's your name, sir?" And he like looks around. He sees a rod. He
sees a man.
He sees a man. He sees like Flanders from The Simpsons. He's like Flender.
Yeah, copy the work, but don't make it obvious. Flander.
Okay. Anyway, Rodman Flender. He's just directed a bunch of random TV show episodes, like some episodes of The Office, a couple episodes of The OC. Nothing really else of note.
Okay.
Terry Hughes and Ron Milbauer.
So this was not written and directed by the same person.
Correct.
Again, so could go better.
Could go either way.
Tune in to find out.
But you don't just keep listening.
Or just keep listening.
This isn't a trailer. Unless. Is it a trailer?
A long trailer.
Hold on, let me ask it. Isaac, is this a trailer?
Is this a trailer? We discussed in the production meetings. We could.
We don't have production meetings.
They don't know that.
We sit on a couch and watch a movie.
So what about the writers?
Yep. So they've actually worked together a lot after this movie. Mm-hmm. They've kind of gone off and done their own things, but together they've done things like episodes of The 100, Eureka, Supernatural, Quantum Break.
Hey, I've heard of all of those shows.
I know, there's like a bunch of TV shows they've done. I find it very interesting that all three of the people involved with the writing and directing this movie stopped making movies and went to TV.
Was that after this? Was this the last movie that they had worked on?
And I may be wrong, but it seemed like this was the last big movie that they worked on.
I am trying to think about like this movie as a TV show or like even a TV series could work fairly well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got the chops for TV.
Is that true?
It's true.
We didn't talk about that in the production meeting either.
Oh, come on. You remember that in our production meeting with the big oil barons.
This guy?
And we're loving the meetings and the business.
Who's this guy? Who's this guy?
He can't have a name or he's going to come back. We get attached. We can't get attached to our characters.
We can't name them.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so this movie has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 15 for the critics, but the audience score is sitting at 58.
That's fairly high. That's almost 60. That's pretty good.
This is all over the place because Letterboxd is at 3.2, which I would have to check, but it's very high.
Honestly, for our movies, absolutely.
And then Metacritic is at 31, and I normally don't talk about the Metacritic audience score, but it is also very high. It's in like the 60s and 70s.
Oh, geez.
So like very similar between that.
There is a chasm between the critics and the audience scores.
Yes. And then IMDb's sitting at a 6.2, which there's a lot of movies I love that have like 6s and 7s on IMDb.
That's
so
pretty good, yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Kind of up there.
The budget for this movie was $25 million. Without looking at my notes, because you're a spy.
I'm a stinky and sneaky little spy.
Guess how much money this movie made?
Some billions, right? Some
billions?
Millions? What'd you say, millions?
How much do you think a billion is?
Too many. Too much for this movie. Like 3 million.
You looked. It was 4.2 million.
4.2!
Which means this movie lost $21 million.
Oh boy, that's terrible. You think there's like maybe it wasn't necessarily a loss. Maybe they spent like $20 million on just like all the weed they used for the movie.
Back in 1990s, weed was like super expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Your grandpa's like, back in my day, I spent $90 for a dime bag.
I had to go uphill both ways to get the weed.
Uphill both ways to get to the dealer's house.
Back then, we didn't have dispensaries. The dispensary was your neighbor Craig.
That's terrible. Should we read some reviews?
I guess, yeah, we probably should.
So there's one review from Jeff Miller that says, maybe 90 seconds of viable and sustained humor at the end. Big oof from Jeff Miller.
I mean, but then you've got these like really deep reviews. Like Kevin Maynard says, a lame ass horror comedy.
Oh, Kevin Maynard. John Monaghan says, a teen comedy even more wasted than its bleary-eyed heroes.
Oh, jeez. Michael DeQuina. So sorry if I said that wrong, because he's definitely listening. Too precariously straddles the line between fun and cheese, often going a bit too far over the top.
Yes, they really ripped into this one here, which is why it's got a 15% sitting there. Shall we talk about our expectations?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Just starting us out here, the very first thing I expected, because we didn't watch the trailer for this one, right?
No, we didn't.
We went solely based off like the synopsis of the movie, which told us about there's a demon-possessed hand, basically. So my very first assumption about this movie, my expectation was, he's going to masturbate with that evil hand, for sure. That was the first thing I wrote. I'm like, there's going to be something like that.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I mean...
If you had an evil hand?
I mean, hey.
It's like
it's the ultimate sin.
It's that whole thing of like you make your hand fall asleep and it's like you got a stranger.
So next I was expecting next. So if anyone in there is listening, we have open applications for new podcast co-hosts.
Yeah, I'll bring Brian in.
Oh no, yeah, he could do the podcast with me. That's fine. You can't confuse. I know that's Derek doing a Bahead impression. You can't fool me.
Don't talk about my legs.
My second expectation was that I worry this movie's going to be more comedy than it will be horror. It is listed as a horror comedy, but everything I was seeing about it made it look like it was going to be more comedic than it was anything scary. So I was a little bit worried about that. And then I said, I'll have a good time with this one, maybe. I thought maybe this one might be up there as far as the ranking goes of our That Was Horrible movies. And then I said it'd probably be too raunchy for me. Probably pretty outdated jokes was kind of what I was expecting. It's from 99. And then I just said it was going to be very tropey. Very, very tropey. Yeah, very tropey.
Very interesting. Who's this character?
This is Mermit.
Mermit? Mermit the Expectations Doctor.
Mermit the Expectations puppet. Now, what were your expectations?
Okay. Oh, we're having too much.
We named him.
We
You can't keep asking me for names.
Mermit the Expectations puppet.
Oh, gosh.
I would like a puppet that is green and looks like an E.
Oh, gosh.
And his name is Mermit.
Oh, gosh. So what were your expectations?
My expectations for this movie that we watched. I'm going to be honest, man. I think I wrote the same thing 5 times. I don't know what my headspace was when I was writing my expectations, but I wrote...
It was a dark place.
I wrote gross humor. I wrote really outdated and offensive humor.
Well, you and me both.
I wrote forced everything comedy gore writing horror.
Yeah.
So those 3 are all the same. Then I wrote really rough writing.
Uh-huh.
And then I wrote bad gore.
Yep.
So like all of those are basically the same thing.
Yeah, that's basically just like the same thing in different fonts.
Yeah. But I mean, that was basically my only expectation, right? That everything
Really,
was going to be forced. It was going to be over the top. It was probably going to be dated, you know?
Exactly.
Like not like a nice fancy date out to a restaurant, but like when you go on a first date to like a movie.
Yeah, because like my man Seth Green is in this movie. I don't know if he's known for the most like properly dated things, you know?
He did a lot of Family Guy.
Yeah, a lot of Family Guy, Austin Powers, Robot Chicken under his belt.
But you know what he also did?
Yep.
Mass Effect. And Mass Effect is a masterpiece.
Well, you're right. Masterpiece Effect. Let's
just
dive into
this movie. Masturbate joke, and I would have to put a content advisory.
Not today. We've reached our limit on that. The movie starts out so edgy.
Yeah, it does.
Just like unnecessarily edgy. Literally, the opening credit sequence starts, and Derek says, "I'm out." Because the intro was too dumb.
You wouldn't steal a movie.
Yeah, that's exactly like. I think
steal a weed.
There's something about this effect, this like general aesthetic or vibe that apparently like older horror movies think works. It's the same that we've joked about in the past, where it's like, you know, that you wouldn't steal a car trailer, where it's like the dun 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 dun. It's all like grungy, weird filters and like grainy filters over the whole thing.
Okay, here's the thing though.
Yeah.
I need to have a word with the people who created that ad.
Oh yeah. You got them on the line?
I got beep 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 boop boop boop. Ring, ring, ring. Yes, hello, advertising. It's sick. Yes, advertisement people. Why would you make...
I'll take a large number 4.
I'm not talking to them.
No. What would it... Oh, okay.
Why am I pretending? Okay. No,
you definitely had a fake phone up to your head.
Okay. Here we go.
Yes.
So my issue.
Yes.
The ad with like the cool music and like you would steal a car.
Yeah.
Is badass. I kind of want to steal a car.
That's the thing. It was never made me go, oh, of course, I would never steal a car.
Yeah.
I kind of want to steal a
I
car.
want to steal a car. Also, it makes me want to pirate a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Because normally that's where that ends.
It's usually, yeah, exactly.
So, hold on. I gotta go do that.
Go do that. No.
No. Okay. Wow.
This has been the longest episode. We haven't even, like, started the movie.
Oh my gosh, the episode's been an hour and a half. All right, that was horrible.
So,
everybody
thank you. Have a good night. And here's Bahead Bex. He's come through so many times.
Can we talk
in
about
episode.
this movie?
Yes. So yeah, it starts off very edgy style.
So edgy.
It's already feeling so dated as like late 90s, early 2000s kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It is looking like it's going to be gorier than I was expecting. There were some shots of like an evil looking face with some like blood dripping down off of it.
Oh
like,
that was cool.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so this movie's coming at me a lot harder than I was expecting it to. Again, I expected more comedy than horror, and already it seemed like maybe that was going to go out the window. And so yeah, I was kind of excited about about that. Still too edgy for me. It starts opening up on the shot of a pumpkin.
We were watching Halloween.
Just like Halloween. Yeah, exactly.
We weren't watching the right movie. We had to turn it off.
The music itself is also very edgy in this. I'm like, this whole thing is trying to give way too forced, right? It feels forced.
So forced.
Forced, edgy vibes. You meet what's going to be our main character. You meet his parents. They're chilling in their bedroom, right?
Yep.
Going to sleep. The mom is already talking about like how she's excited for Thanksgiving and blah blah. I'm like, I hate people that are like that. Let Halloween live and breathe, please. Like, its corpse isn't even cold by the time people are like, oh, give me the gravy for my Thanksgiving turkey.
The eggs are still runny that have been thrown at their house at this point. They haven't even had a chance to clean it.
That's pretty good. The toilet paper is still dry.
Still dry.
It's still dry.
The sprinklers haven't had a chance to ruin it.
You didn't think about that? If someone got TP'd and then it rains?
I've seen it happen.
That's terrible.
I've literally seen it happen.
That's awful.
Have you not had to clean that up?
No, it's terrible. No. Homeownership in this age? In this economy?
In this economy?
Located entirely within this hemisphere?
Wait, we didn't look at the Aurora Borealis.
No!
Okay. Anyway,
back to the show. So they're in bed, they're talking blah blah blah, and then as they're going to bed, they turn the lights off, and then written on the ceiling in like black light paint, it just says, "I'm under the bed," and the wife screams, and the husband's like, "Oh no, I'm sure this is fine, right? I'll go check it out, right?" So he goes to be hero husband and check out the danger. Him and the dog go to look at it,
and then boom,
no,
there's nothing under the bed.
Oh, I was scared. You had me scared there, which is more fear than I was feeling at the beginning. Derek's wife, Emily, was watching it with us, and right here she says, I feel no scared. I have zero fear, is what she said.
I feel no scared.
So yeah, thus far they're like, okay, so something spooky is happening. It's played off that it's like a prank played by their son, writing that on the ceiling. There wasn't anything under the bed when they went to check.
What was his name? Like, Anomaly and Anton?
Avlov. Anton.
Was it actually Anton?
I think it was Anton.
I was trying to make a lot of jokes.
No, yeah, it was Anton. Sorry, you joked too good. You got to the truth.
Dang it.
So the mom is like scared alone in her room. She's sitting there with like 2 knitting needles and like she starts...
Chekhov's knitting needles.
Yeah, she starts knitting to herself. I too knit when I'm afraid. And then there's a cat. Give me some needles.
We're not scared right now.
Well, yeah, I'm very loose.
There's a cat.
There's a cat jump scare. It like jumps on the bed and makes this like cat screech sound. It's a white cat and they named him Bones, and I really love that.
Yeah,
I like
Isaac
that a
wouldn't
lot.
stop shutting up about that. Would not shut up.
It was just a great name for a cat. I'm sorry. You see a lot of gray cats named Luna. I don't ever see any white cats named Bones.
Yeah, you hear that,
That's
Lexi,
clever.
Isaac's sister? You name your cat Luna, you should have named it
clever.
Bones.
It's clever. So then the husband screams from downstairs, and so the wife has to go check on him. And then she goes and goes downstairs, I think, and finds a scene of blood. Yeah, that's what she finds.
She finds like a puddle of blood. The cat walks up, starts licking it or whatever, and then she freaks out because he's gone. Yeah, and so she tries to go up in the attic where her son is.
Yeah, so he lives up there, and she doesn't make it. She ends up going back into her bedroom or something, and. No, I think she just falls into the room is what happened. I don't think she goes to look under the bed, but she falls on the floor and then she gets yanked underneath there.
No, she's trying to call the police.
Oh, that's right. She's trying to call the police. She calls 911, and the phone gets yanked out of her hands.
Which, it was so stupid. It was the most obvious thing in the world.
Hey, very tropey.
But tropey.
Tropey. Okay.
Like a rope.
Like a rope trick. Tropey. That's nothing.
That is nothing.
So then she gets pulled under the bed in a crazy fashion.
And she gets ghost sharked.
And then she just she splats like a crushed watermelon.
She really does.
Real blood that just spurts out from under the bed.
It was intense.
The way the action runs in this movie makes it feel like a comic to movie adaptation because it's so outlandish and kind of crazy.
It is wild.
Yeah,
but it looked good. It wasn't bad.
Surprised at how much blood there was initially, and then the bed just starts going crazy from underneath as whatever happens to her under there. Yeah, it was.
So you see her corpse later on, and this was really confusing to me because she definitely seemed like she went through a blender. And then she's just kind of got some scratches on her face.
She's mostly intact when he finds her later.
But she's dead.
Yep. So then we fast forward and we meet Anton, their son, who lives in the attic. He's cool boy, listening to his Walkman, walking down the stairs. Derek's oh, he's got a cool inhaler as his necklace.
Yeah, he did.
He literally just wears it around his neck. Bones, the cat, is eating some of the blood that was on the ground from the dad that was downstairs, and that's fine. Derek says, this kid's such a rebel. He listens to music. And it felt like you probably had more to say. You just stopped right there. He listens to music.
But it's also true.
Yeah.
Like, he was just like, it didn't matter what
Exactly.
music
He was listening to like this like heavy metal music on his Walkman. He feels very typical sleazy dropout type. He was just gross. He was really nasty.
I really hated him.
He's sitting on the couch and like scratching his balls with like a back scratcher.
Yeah, what was that about?
It was just gross.
Why did he do that?
And then then he's sitting on the couch chilling to himself, not taking it in any of his surroundings. There's like blood everywhere, but he doesn't seem to notice that.
It's that classic horror trope of like idiot person not paying attention to their surroundings.
Totally in his own world, doesn't really think about it.
Always makes me think of the Great Shaun of the Dead, like that first sequence where he's just walking through the town.
Yeah.
But it happens all the time.
Really,
that was
though.
just like
So it kind of makes me wonder, if something like that had happened, how fast would I notice something like that?
Well, I mean, I was dead this morning. But then I decided not to go to hell. So
you just decided you didn't want to deal with that. It was a long walk, right?
Hey, I promise this will make sense later. Because we've used this bit twice.
Then he's sitting on the couch and you find out his inhaler that he's wearing around his neck isn't even an inhaler. It's a pipe that he uses to smoke weed. He just carries that thing around with him on a necklace. Like, that is so crazy to me. I just wrote, this is the grossest man. I hate him.
Yeah, me too.
He finds out he's out of weed and he calls his dealer. He's like, this isn't Domino's. You got to come get it, right? So then he walks out. He's walking out in like a robe and his boxers and like slippers, just like out into the neighborhood. Just like he sees some of his neighbors too. And they're like, hey, nice boxers, it's so weird. But yeah, we're off to see the weed man, and he finds his two friends that are in the movie. I just wrote, I hate men. All of their dialogue is just obnoxious, like stoner humor, and they're all just gross, raunchy men. Everything they do is gross. There's a bit where Seth Green, like, again, reaches his hand into his pants, scratches, and then sniffs it for no reason.
Yeah, what was that even about?
Men, are you okay? Is this happening? Do guys do this?
I mean, I don't, personally.
Yeah.
But maybe some guys do. Do you want me to put Bahead in here?
No, that's okay. I don't know if he classifies as man or anything.
Whoa.
I think he's just monster.
He told me.
He told you?
Yeah.
In confidence?
Please, no, not in confidence. He's very proud.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I'm glad. He can be a man. That's fine. I love that. I love him. We love Bahead. Don't kiss Bahead.
Why not?
Without consent. So apparently we find out his parents have been missing for actual days. They've been gone for a long time. So I think it was like, what, two whole days that he has not noticed the two of them around?
That was bonkers.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they've been gone a couple days.
He's like, yeah, no, it's kind of funny. I haven't seen them for a while. There's news stories going on in the background about like there have been apparently a couple murders going on around the town. There's some like murder, serial killer that they're like on the lookout for. Like, everybody be safe. They've put in a curfew for all of the town to make sure everybody's safe. They're not out too late. So that's what's going on in the world. Then you see Anton's crush, Jessica Alba, riding around on a motorcycle because she's
Jessica
so cool.
Alba. And that's not her name. That is literally the actress.
Yeah.
So.
Molly. Molly was her name. I remember
Molly
names. No, just Molly. Just the Molly was
the
her.
drug Molly.
Oh my God. Do you think? I wonder now if that had anything to do with it.
I don't know. Did Molly exist in 1999? Did Molly... You can keep talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're just going to do that. This movie was made by stoners for stoners is kind of how it feels. They're literally like smoking out of a bong that has boobs on it. Like, it's just like a dude's movie, and I kind of hate it for that.
Hey,
but
methylsphenic, also known as Molly, did exist. It was created in 1912 by a German guy.
I assume it went back dated a little bit.
But dude, Molly's exist for 111 years.
That's so much
Think
time.
about that. That's long. That's older than me. The guy who created it isn't alive anymore.
So
probably.
Jessica Alba is riding her motorcycle, and she happens to drop like her journal on the ground, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a hero, I'm gonna save it and then go bring it to her, right? So as he's doing that, I think he like picks it up and smells it, which is so weird, and he goes and brings it to her. I don't know.
I love how my books smell like my deodorant. So,
I guess I have to go to my
wipe
books and see if they smell like me, because that's so strange.
You can't smell yourself.
Again, every man in this movie is gross. Thus far, there's not been one likable guy in the movie. And it's kind of rough for that. But he goes and brings the book to her, and he just like, he knocks on her door, gets real nervous, and just shoves it into her and runs away. And the thing is, she is not like even remotely kind of weirded out by this guy.
Yeah,
He looks like shit. He doesn't take care of himself. He's just showing up at her door with her book. And she's like, oh, what a hero. She's like weirdly flirty with him. I'm like, this guy's gross. Are there not better dudes in the town?
Yeah, she's kind of weirdly into it.
Like, have higher expectations, right?
Higher expectations.
I guess her expectations were the highest they could be.
That's really funny.
So then we cut to there's nuns in a jail in Utah.
Yeah, dude.
But then she said
Makes
shit,
sense.
and I was like, well, there's no way she's a real
There's
nun.
no
right?
way she's a nun. And then she took her clothes off and she was no longer a nun.
Yeah, so apparently she's a paranormal investigator looking for something. She goes to find this dude in a jail cell who was like kind of rotted up in there, and he's got one hand that looks all jagged and weird, and she's like, oh no, he doesn't have what I'm looking for. So she leaves, she like takes all of her nun uniform out of there, and she goes to a map.
She's having none of that.
She's having none of that. This is none of your business. I love you laughing to yourself at your own dumb joke. So yeah, so she's tracking the murders that are going on, right? And so she has a bunch of locations on a map, and then she's like, wait, hold on, ... and then it's suddenly a pentagram she's drawn out.
But there were like 3 dots that she didn't connect.
Also, you can just make that shape with most formations of like 5 dots. It's not that hard to make a star and circle it, right?
I tried. You said that I could, and I could not make a pentagram. I did it.
You tried?
I tried, yeah.
Oh,
I'll try it
Derek.
again. Boop, 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 boop.
Well,
what?
Oh, he got sucked in. Hold on, let me pull him back out. Okay, what was down there? Did you see anything fun?
There were a lot of rainbows.
Rainbows in hell. That's what you'd expect.
I had a really good time.
They got it wrong, I guess.
I was just chilling.
So then Anton's riding his bike. He went grocery shopping, and he is getting pulled over by 2 cops for no reason at all. And you find out that they were people that like they were seniors when he was a freshman, I think, in high school.
Yeah.
And he kind of picked on them because they were nerds during school. So they're kind of like getting revenge on him by like bullying him and saying he's in possession of weed, even though he had like an empty bag.
But they were bullying him because he wouldn't share his weed with them during school.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of just like weirdly getting revenge. Yeah.
And they're like, you wouldn't make us get high with you, and now we went straight, and we're part of the law.
It's so weird. They're such dicks, though. And I'm like, is there one man in this movie that can be likable?
Yeah,
because honestly, it's so stupid.
They don't know how to write nice men.
But yeah, so they're just like, they're rude to him. They give him a ticket for like $200 for the weed possession. And then they're like, oh, you dropped it on the ground. Guess that's littering. And then he takes the paper from his ticket and makes like a joint with it and starts smoking. But what does he smoke?
Yeah, so his friends are like, you can't have our weed. Just go use oregano and nutmeg like the cool kids do. Which was actually a thing.
Apparently that was actually a thing.
I looked it up because I had remembered someone talking about this. It was like a rumor that went around that if you couldn't get weed, you could smoke oregano and nutmeg. And I remember I had a friend.
That seems like the kind of thing you would sell to like a dumb kid to get money out of them. This is weed. Here it is.
That happened. And I had a friend who did it, and it was very bad. So like, don't ever smoke nutmeg because you can technically get hallucinogenic things from it, but it's very dangerous. And it can, like, you're not supposed to ingest it that way. Warning. This is my warning because I'm a big science man now.
Oh, okay.
This is me, Big Science Jim.
Oh, and, Big Science Jim, thanks for showing up. I like your clipboard and your fancy tie.
And this tie is made of my chest hair.
Oh, gosh.
And I would like you to know that you should not smoke marijuana. That's fine if it's legal. But you should not smoke oregano or nutmeg. And if you do, you could die.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. What was your name again, Science Man?
Science Man Jim.
Science Man Jim. All right. Well, thank you, Science Man Jim, for visiting us. I know you're a really busy guy.
I came out of this portal to hell, and I will go back in.
Oh, sure. Yeah, here, I'll draw you a pentagram. Doot, 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 doot.
What?
Oh, there. Well, that was strange.
I named him.
You named him. He's here to stay now. He lives here. So then, he smokes that, and then he, goes to the sink and, like, dumps a bunch of soap in his mouth and try to wash it out because it was so bad. And then while he's in there, he makes a sandwich for himself. And he picks up a knife to spread, he makes like a mayo and bologna sandwich. It doesn't look that appetizing. But to spread the mayo, he uses a blood-stained knife.
Yep.
And eats it.
And
he takes a bite out of it.
The mayo's like covered in blood. The whole sandwich is bloody.
Yeah. So then he takes a bite and he's grossed out by it. Then he goes, shit, the killer's here.
Just so stupid.
And then he looks on the ground and Bones, the carnivore cat, is eating an eyeball. And this is one of our first bits of like practical effects that we see within the movie. It is like a whole like eyeball with like the thread of like, I don't know, whatever tendon on the end of it. It looks gnarly. It's nasty.
I'll ask Science Jim.
And Bones is just eating it. Bones is just going to town on it. It's gross.
Yeah.
So then Anton runs upstairs with Dookie, his cute little dog, who's just such a good boy.
Is the best dog.
Dookie's the best boy.
Who does not die.
Who does not die. which is very important. I literally wrote, I'm like, if Dookie dies, I will riot. Please no.
We were upset.
Before he
did not.
Before he runs upstairs, though, he actually runs into his parents set up these two like mannequin bodies in the front window with pumpkins for heads as like Halloween decorations. Mm-hmm. He bumps into them, and out falls the dead bodies of his parents. Like the pumpkin head smashed, and you find out it was their bodies,
which was pretty cool.
It was kind of neat. I actually really enjoyed that. They looked pretty good, but again, she didn't look like she came out of a blender.
No. She was just missing an eye and had some cuts.
Exactly. So yeah, it was her eye that the cat was eating. So then his friends were at the door. He panicked because he saw like shadows outside of his door, right? Turns out it was just the two of them. They walk in, they're like, oh yeah, man, cool. Wow, I love this. There's like some like weirdly sexual music video playing on TV.
It was basically porn.
It was so weird. Like, yeah, I didn't even know they were still allowed to show this on TV. Wow, crazy. And then Anton's like, guys, my parents' dead bodies are here.
Yeah, you had to turn off the TV.
And none of them are acting very appropriately for the situation.
No, not at all.
They're trying to act like, oh no, that's terrible, but it's not very believable.
None of this was good.
So then Seth Green, I think his name is Mick. Mick's character goes up, and in the mom's hand, he finds a piece of like shirt that was like ripped out of like as she was dying, you can assume. And then you see a shot of Anton's shirt, and what do you know at the bottom of it? It's missing out a little chunk of shirt that's the same shape.
That was obviously cut with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, exactly. The piece that was in her hand looked torn, but his shirt was very clearly neatly cut with like a pair of scissors. Yeah. It was kind of funny. So then they go into the kitchen, and written in blood going like underneath the counter, like into a closet or something, you see it's an ant and kind of trail off.
Ant.
And they're like, whose aunt? Someone's aunt? Like, they just don't understand it. Like, these guys are so stupid. And then, like, is it just because they're stoners, or is it so poorly written? I don't know.
Anton, you're just ants at a picnic.
So then they drop...
You've heard that?
No, I haven't. One more time, please.
Ant, you're just ants at a picnic.
So they drop their onion rings, and out fall a pair of earrings in the onion rings.
That upset me.
Kind of gross, kind of whack. They're like, oh no, that's like just like the other girls that have died because of this kill or whatever.
And it was like from a restaurant that the two twins had died at or something.
So then the Mick, he walks up to Anton with the piece of shirt in his hand, slowly walking towards the chunk missing out of his shirt. He's like, oh no, this fits. He goes, the killer was wearing your shirt. So stupid.
They really play into every single like dumb stoner trope.
Yeah, they're just idiots.
Possible.
And then he goes, the killer was wearing me, and then his hand starts to like glow a little bit. So strange.
Wait, we talk about the joy that is that line though. The killer was wearing me.
It's like, as a concept, it is clever to be like, oh, the killer wasn't wearing your shirt, the killer was wearing you, right? Like, kind of neat. But just to say that out loud sounds so stupid. It sounds so dumb.
I loved it.
So then, yeah, his friends kind of panic because they're like, oh shit, our friend is a murderer. Mick tries to call the cops. And so Anton gets him. He's like, no, man, it wasn't me. I swear to God. Smashes a beer bottle onto the counter and then just shoves it into his head. So Mick is dead. That's crazy, but he's not in control of it. So it's his hand that is possessed by something. We don't know why or how or when this happened, but apparently his hand is possessed now.
Yeah, it didn't really give us any reasoning.
Yeah, exactly. It's really funny because his hand, he just starts shaking with his hand. I'm like, okay, so shaky hand equals evil, I guess.
Yeah, it's like pinkies twitching back and forth.
Yeah, and I think it was at this point that you said this movie is funny for all the wrong reasons.
It really is. Yeah, we're laughing at things that I don't think they wanted us to laugh at.
Yeah, all the wrong things, but I mean... We were laughing. It is a horror comedy, so that's fair. I was still
being entertained, so I'm not going to complain.
And his hand keeps randomly shining like this weird green light on his face.
It was so strange.
Yeah, it didn't happen all the time. It's just like in a couple shots, it was very weird.
Well, and then there were times where like that same green light would be like shining somewhere else, and I felt like it needed to be shining from the hand.
Yeah, like they just like weren't aiming it very well out of him or something.
They need to get a new spot operator.
So then he goes after the other friend after killing Mick. By the way, the other friend's name is Penub. It is P-N-U-B, Penub.
Penub.
And I was hoping at some point in the movie they would tell us why that name is used at all. Nope. I was hoping at some point in the trivia, I talked to my good friend Count Trivia. He didn't tell me anything. I don't know what the hell Penub is.
Maybe it's like Parker Nubulin.
Parker Nubbins.
P-Nub.
Nope. Literally the only use of Penub is in Idle Hands. It is the only place that has ever used a stupid name like that.
Maybe it was a misclick. Maybe his name is supposed to be Pub.
Maybe, or Nub, or something, just because like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Any sense.
I don't understand.
I don't know. It's stupid. Anyway,
It doesn't make
moving
any
on.
sense. So anyway, sorry. I was just so bothered by his name. So yeah, they have like a little battle in the basement where he's like, please don't kill me, man. I'm sorry. And he takes a saw blade and throws it at Penub as he's running up the stairs, cuts his head clean off.
Yep.
And I will say, the effects were actually not nearly as bad as I was expecting.
They were great.
It was actually kind of good because, yeah, you see Penub standing there at the top of the staircase, then his neck starts to bleed, and then it falls off and his body tumbles back down the stairs. Didn't look that terrible. I was kind of surprised.
I had a fun time with it for sure.
But yeah, I was like, okay, so he killed his friends. That's terrible. I'm still curious when he even ended up with his possessed hand.
I don't know.
And now they're on the TV, and the hand. This is kind of a weirdly comedic bit where the hand is trying to take control of the TV remote and change to channels that specifically have hands on TV.
Yeah, it was like hand.
I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, that's so weird that every channel he wants to go to has a hand. And so then Anton takes it with his other hand. He's like, no, we're going to watch this. And it's usually some scene that has like boobs on screen. So the two of them are just like fighting over what to watch on the TV. It was so dumb. And then the cat comes onto the couch and tries to like bite the hand or something. So the evil hand takes the cat and spins it around by the tail above his head in a crazy fashion. It very obviously very quickly cuts to like this weird ragdoll puppet cat.
No, it was real.
Which was honestly a lot more enjoyable than a real cat, or
Very much
I
so.
enjoy that it was very obvious that it was fake. It was like it made me feel less bad about
But
it.
the cat didn't die. The cat
who
flew into a
did
bush.
not die.
Who did not die.
But he flew like 10 miles outside the window. He throws him clean out the window into the backyard of Jessica Alba's house.
This is wild.
And so he goes over to her house. He's struggling against his own hand, and the hand forces him to ring on her doorbell a ton of times. She answers the door. And I just don't understand why she's into him. She's still weirdly flirty with him. He's so gross. He's covered in blood. Yeah. And he's also acting super weird. Like, she's just ignoring all of the red flags with him. It's just so strange to me. I don't know why she wants to be with this man, right?
Oh, I know. I figured it out.
Yeah.
So the producers called me. They told me the reason. It's because
I don't see it. Where's the phone?
Right here.
Okay,
This is my hand phone.
Sure.
She was getting a paycheck.
She was getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
She was paid.
So she was paid
to act as the script told her.
Yeah. So
now stay with me here. So she was cast as a woman. She paid to do this.
Yes.
To act against a man who was gross.
Yeah.
But pretend she liked him.
Yep. And wear
that's
really
a
skimpy
concept.
outfits, even though she was like 17 years old.
Yeah, that was kind of rough.
Very bad.
She is
not great.
weirdly horny for this guy.
Yeah, why?
There's a point where he takes his possessed hand, like, grabs her by the butt, and she was like, I didn't think you had the balls to do something like that.
Oh my God.
And suddenly she is like making out with him on the bed, and he's like, and the hand is like choking her too, and she keeps trying to move it off. It was very wrong, but again, I'm like, there are so many red flags. Jessica Alba, the paycheck is not worth it.
No, there's not.
So he ends up like tying the hand up on like her bed frame, and she just thinks it's like a kinky thing.
So kinky.
So strange to me. His acting with his hand was actually kind of decent.
I was impressed.
Like, I don't know how well I could like act like my own hand was possessed against me, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to do it all day. It's not going good. People think I'm possessed by a hand demon.
Yeah. So their makeout scene is cut fairly short, and then goes to him going to bury his parents and his friends in the backyard. To the best of his abilities. I know you and Em were kind of making fun of the whole scene. I'm like, listen, he's an idiot stoner kid. What else is he gonna do? He just buries them in his backyard. He's like, dearly beloved,
eulogy.
we're all gathered here today, and I'm sorry I was dumb. It kind of seems like maybe he's having like a change of heart here, like he wants to be better or something.
Yeah, I was making fun of it because it was like stupid, but it was also like fun.
It was like kind of
good,
but it was also like kind of sincere to like the best of his abilities of this stupid character. You know, he did his best, right? And then his friends start talking to him from beyond the grave.
Yeah, from under the dirt.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense. 6 feet deep with a bunch of dirt in your mouth. There's no way they could talk to him, right?
It was impossible.
But then there was a bit that I really loved. There's like hands coming up from underneath the earth, and they're pulling themselves up out of the ground. So like he's got his zombie friends now. The music was great. The practical headless Penub was actually pretty great.
I liked him.
He was walking around all staggery and stuff. It wasn't like a CGI'd no head. They definitely have one of those bits where it's like the bit that stands on top of your head, so it looks like weirdly long. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
like great headless bit. I actually really enjoyed it. The music was great. I thought the practical effects were good. So his friends are back from the dead, and you don't really get why. It's like he didn't like like resurrect them or anything.
No,
he
yeah.
doesn't have that kind of power or something like that, right? And his friends are seemingly cool with being undead too. They're just kind of like chilling on his couch, like trying to find snacks to eat and stuff. And I really dig the effects because there's Mick who had the bottle in his head, so he's still got that in there. The effects look pretty good on that. They even did like kind of cool like undead makeup on them where like they kind of have this cool like veiny effect and their skin is all gross. Looks great. I kind of enjoyed it. But then you have Penub's head chilling on the couch. And while it's chilling on the couch, in the background, you can see his body just aimlessly wandering around trying to do things. And loved that bit.
And is that when he's throwing the Cheeto Puffs at him?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he's like sitting sideways and Mick is throwing Cheeto Puffs into his mouth.
Yeah, it was so funny to me.
And Louis was upset about this. She's like, where are they going? Where's that going to go?
Yeah, exactly. Where's he going to... It just falls out of his neck, I guess. It was very funny. But yeah, it's just at this point we find out the reason that they are undead is because they're like, well, yeah, there's like this super long tunnel and there's like this like bright light at the end of it. And we just thought, man, that's a long way to go, huh? So they're literally just like two stoners stupid to go towards the light.
Yep.
They're like, it's a lot of work. So they came back, basically. It's not because they had any unfinished business. They're like, that's all right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Just like how Bawhead Bex got back.
It's just very strange to me. So... because his hand is like possessed by some kind of demon he's established, right? He goes to the only person he knows that knows anything about Satan, I guess, which is the one like bad boy in the town.
Yeah, he's got a big truck.
Yeah, you know he's the bad boy because he's got a big black truck. Yeah. He only wears like band tees that are cut up in black and he looks all like rough. He's got weird dumb tattoos on his arms.
And the only song he listens to is Shout at the Devil.
Every time he starts his car, that's the only song that plays.
Only song that plays.
It's so funny to me. But yeah, so he goes to find him, like, I can't remember, I think his name is Randy. Randy the bad boy.
Randy Bandy.
Randy Bandy. Randy Bandy is at, like, the memorial service for the twins that died at the like, a burger place. It was Burger Jungle, that's what it was called. Bungle. And so, he's, like, trying to pick up chicks at the memorial service. It's kind of gross. And then Anton kind of cockblocks him. So then... Randy is going through the drive-thru in his truck.
Well, he doesn't really cockblock him. He's like
he cockblocks himself.
He's a nice guy. Like, Anton is actually a decent person, even if he's kind of gross.
Yeah, he's very gross.
He's just like trying to get help, and he's like, "You cockblocked me, man." But Randy was just gross.
Yeah.
He was grosser than the other gross guys, but for different reasons.
Exactly. He was just really gross. But anyway, so yeah, he catches him. Anton breaks into like the workplace and puts himself at the drive-thru window so they can talk to Randy through the drive-thru. Yeah. And he's basically like, "Please, man, you're the only guy I know that knows anything about Satan." He's like, "Why do you think I know everything about Satan?" It's like, "Well, you're always listening to that music." Like, okay, so listening to satanic music equals knowing everything about the devil, I guess. Yeah.
But it's funny. So when he pushes someone away from the window, the person who's standing at the window is Tom DeLonge, the lead singer of Blink-182.
So strange. He says,
"Why is he there?"
He says one word. He says, because he's like, "It's break time." He goes, "All right," and then he leaves.
It's so stupid.
I don't understand why he's there, but it was kind of funny to me.
Yeah, it was really good.
So basically, the only advice that Randy can give him is he quotes like a Bible verse that's like idle hands are the devil's playground, something like that, right? So he's basically like, "Oh, okay, so if I keep my hands busy, they won't kill anybody, right?" Yeah. So then he just starts to knit.
He's a knitting boy now.
"This is gonna work, no worries." There's some more funny practical like bits where it's like, the head of Penub is upside down smoking weed, and the smoke is coming up out of the neck.
That was
it was so
fun.
neat. So fun. They're just neat little things like this. But at this point, I'm very confused where the movie is going until the cops, the two cops that were from high school that were kind of dicks, hear about a music complaint because they're playing their music really loud. Yeah. They show up, and then there are some kind of gnarly kills where they come in there, they try to arrest Anton. He's like, "Please, no."
Because he sees the two dead friends, and he's like, "Oh, Anton's the murderer."
And he's holding the knitting needles up in his hands, right? Yeah. And they're like, "Drop your weapons." He's like, "I can't. Please just handcuff me." Because he's like, "It's perfect. If I get arrested, I can't kill anybody," right?
He's into it.
Yeah, he's totally into the idea. He's like looking for any way out at this point. And so... it doesn't work out, obviously. He takes the knitting needle, goes straight through one dude's ear, all the way through another ear. It was pretty gnarly. And then he takes the other cop's taser and like tases him in the face for a very long time.
And you like watch his face. This effect was really well done for a movie made in 1999.
Yeah, because it stays close up right on his face as he's like sitting there seizing up.
Slowly changes into like smoky.
Exactly, slowly like crisping around the bits where the taser connected to his face. Pretty crazy. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was cool. So then he decides he needs to cut off his hand.
Yeah, there was definitely, I even called this because I'm like, he had this kind of like Ash Williams in Evil Dead 2, like crazy cackle looking at his hand. I'm like, oh, this man's about to cut off his hand and replace it with a chainsaw.
But then I loved this because he grabs the bagel slicer.
Yeah, and it's called the bagel guillotine too, which is so funny to me.
Which those existed.
Yeah,
they were a big thing.
I didn't know.
And so he like shoves his hand through it, but what he doesn't realize is the bagel guillotine is not strong enough
to
so
cut
your bone.
It bends. Yeah, exactly.
Bends
it does not work at all. Because even Mick's like, that thing's not even strong enough to cut through a bagel. So like, don't even try that.
Which is not a great ad for bagel guillotines.
Yeah, and then of course, always in horror movies, they use an electric carver to try to cut
Turkey
off a
slicers.
limb. But it's so stupid. Yeah, tell them about this.
It doesn't work because it unplugs.
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to get it over
He's like, haha, let's go. Then he walks away from the wall. It unplugs. He's like, well, shoot, I guess that's not going to work.
Darn.
And then they just give up on that.
Yeah. But then he finds a cleaver, and he's like, okay, I'm going to do it. He starts trying to hit his own hand. The hand's, like, running away from him. And then he shoves the hand into the head's mouth.
Into Penub's mouth.
Yeah.
He's like, bite this.
Bite this. He holds it down, then he hits the hand, slices it off.
And he cuts his own hand off.
Yep.
And then Mick, in actually pretty quick thinking, goes and gets an iron, which probably wouldn't heat up this fast, but he takes an iron, like a clothes iron, and just shoves it against the wound.
Plugged up.
No, exactly. He shoves it against the wound to like cauterize it. Like, that's actually kind of wild.
No,
that's
that was smart.
That's pretty crazy. It was pretty tough to watch though, just like thinking about that sensation. Like, ooh, that's hard.
I mean, I feel like cutting your hand off in this situation would put you into a state of shock.
Really, though, even if you don't bleed out.
Like, I'd have to ask Science Jim another time.
Yeah, well, we'll get with him. But like, I can draw another portal if you want.
Probably don't. He doesn't know very much. I just feel like you would pass out from the shock and the blood
you're
loss.
right. So then the zombie friends decide, oh, we're gonna go get you some things. Don't even worry. And I'm like, guys, it's like you guys are zombies. One of you does not have a head on their body. How could you walk around? And then I remembered, oh, it's Halloween now. So that was actually a pretty decent plot line where I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense why some of them can walk around covered in blood and as literal zombies and not like cause a fuss just because like it's Halloween, so that makes sense. They would blend in, right? And then Molly is there, and she's trying to get him to go to the school dance with him. He's like, I gotta handle some things, so just like come back later. He puts the hand into a microwave, and there's a pretty good effect there. I actually really liked that, where he puts the hand into the microwave, and then it shows it like spurting blood and like kind of exploding in there. It's great.
It was really cool.
So yeah, then there's a bit where Penub and Mick try to cook a burrito in the microwave. And they go to open it, and the hand just flies out the window. It's so funny to me. The hand just flies. And then they're like, oh, whatever. We're still going to make this burrito. Then there's a bit where they're trying to reattach Penub's head to his body. What did they shove it on? Like a knife?
Wasn't it like pruning shears or something
like that? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. And then he like shoves it down his neck.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
So then he tries to eat something, and then the burrito comes out of his neck, which is kind of gnarly, gross effect coming out of it. Then he just duct tapes it. Duct tape saves all, I guess. Yeah. And then it's fine.
So Science Jim's here real quick.
Science Jim. Wait, hold on. Here he is.
Yes, hello. It's me, Science Jim.
Hello,
I don't
Science.
remember if this was my voice.
I don't know if this is your voice. Are you Science John?
Something like this. Yes, if you cut your hand off in that manner, your adrenaline is so high, it probably won't cause you to pass out right away. And if you cauterize the wound, there's a big old vein right in your hand that will cause blood to spurt out. But if you cauterize it and get it to stop, you can actually live.
Wow.
This was Science Jim tuning in.
Oh, Science Jim, thank you very much. Very, very insightful.
Definitely wasn't Derek Googling things very quickly. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Whoa.
So the paranormal investigator knows it's a hands thing. She's at a bowling alley where she runs into the bad boy Randy and basically just gives him the entire story of like her lineage. She's like, I'm some like I come from a long line of like priestesses who know about this possessive thing, and apparently it tries to find the laziest person it can find and possesses them.
I feel like when they were writing this movie, they came up with the idea, they wrote the plot, and then they're like, we need a reason for this hand, and we need someone to stop the hand.
Yes.
So they added her in halfway through production. That's what it felt like.
Really,
because
though.
her like 10 minutes in the movie is explained in like 20 seconds.
She felt very useless at this point. But yeah, she gave us like so much exposition in like 6 seconds. Yeah. It was so crazy to me. And Randy's just like, oh, yeah, that sounds right. Dude I knew said he was talking about how his hand was weird. And she's like, you need to show me.
You need to show me right now.
And by the way, Randy is like weirdly flirting with her, even though she's like way older than him,
he's
too.
calling her kitten.
He's gross about it. Yeah, he's definitely thinking she's some like foxy lady. It's gross. It's just very weird to me. So then to us, to everyone,
not just to
the
everyone.
world. So yeah, then Anton comes back home. He finds out they let it out of the microwave and it's going after Molly. And so he's like, we got to get to the school dance like ASAP, please.
Yeah.
They steal Randy's truck. They
he's so pissed.
They hit the paranormal investigator with it, thinking they killed her. No, they don't even know. They're like, what was that? Well, probably nothing. Keep driving.
Yeah. So then we get to the dance. And inside one of the cars, it like zooms in on this couple that are just going crazy on each other. And then, of course, the girl takes off her shirt.
There's the nudity. I'm surprised I didn't expect that from this one. That wasn't one of my expectations. But there it is, unnecessary nudity.
It's funny, I actually wrote that as one of my expectations right before we started. And then I erased it because I was like, well, probably not. Also, I'm tired of that expectation.
Yeah, right.
So, anyway, then the hand, of course.
The dude's groping her with 2 hands, and then the third hand appears
and starts groping her boobs.
And that one hand can do a lot of damage. It chokes her to death and then takes the one dude and slams him against the side of the car so much he just blood splatters against the window. It's kind of nuts.
It was pretty gross.
They do have some bop songs from the 90s in this movie, though. There's some good songs.
Yeah, so we get into the dance hall, and they're dancing to the Ramones.
Yeah, the Ramones are here.
I Want to Be Sedated, which is fantastic. But it's the Offspring.
Yeah.
It's the band The Offspring
is actually performing the song.
But none of their songs were in this movie.
Yeah, so
and yet
strange.
They were here.
Yeah, I hated it. But yeah, then aside from the dance, there's a strange scene that we have to go through for no reason at all. I guess basically just to give more kill count to this hand as it's running havoc through this high school, where there's a principal talking on the phone. He's like, well, no, that can't be right. This credit card's got money on it. Oh, yeah. No, this number. All right. Yeah, you're a dirty girl. I'm like, oh, God, he's talking on some weird sex line.
Yeah.
Again, there are no likable men in this movie. It's all so gross.
They're all terrible.
But then he's like, oh, yeah, I like that, baby. I can almost feel you. And then the hand is crawling up his pant leg. He's like, wait, I can really feel you. And then the hand pops out of his pants like a chest burster, like Alien. Yeah, it was so stupid. And then he's just a splash of blood up on him from his crotch. Really busted his balls.
Oh, you made the joke again. And it hurt just as much the second time.
It was so great. It had it so nice, you gotta say it twice. There's also a bit in this office where the hand is sharpening its nails in an electric pencil sharpener. I thought that was actually
I really liked that. That was
kind of gnarly, pretty rough.
Also, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, definitely would not.
Have you tried to stick your finger in an electric pencil sharpener?
No joke. Every time I see an electric pencil sharpener, I think about what would happen if I put my finger in there.
I always do it. I always put it in there a little bit because it never goes all the way.
No way!
But the outside rubs against your
You're
finger.
a psychopath.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so open enrollment for the new co-host of That Was Horrible. Please get me away.
Yeah, actually, Isaac's trying to leave. I'm trying to place him.
So Anton runs into the paranormal investigator, and she's like, don't worry, I know what can help. She pulls out a dagger from this weird, book parcel thing she's been carrying around, and just goes, die! And just starts trying to stab him. So apparently she has to kill the host, and they have a little bit of a fight.
A very little bit of a fight.
Very small fight. Also, she's not very good at her job. He's just a high school kid, and he, beats her in this fight.
Destroys her.
So weird. Yeah. I don't know what her background is either. What she can...
Whatever. I think at this point, her background was the school. And then, when she was outside, her background was, the trees. And then when she was
She says a very stupid line when he's telling her, no, I'm not the host anymore. I cut it off. She goes, you cut it off? That was probably a mistake, is what she says. I'm like, that is so dumb. So then she's like, you have until midnight, otherwise it's going to take Molly to hell or something like that, right?
Then they look at the clock and they've got 3 hours.
It's 9 something.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, it's cool. We got a couple hours. She's like, actually, it's about 6 minutes to midnight in Druid time. I was so mad about that. What the actual fuck are you talking about? Druid time?
Furious.
That is the most stupid bullshit you can... What?
Wait,
I'm still so mad about that. Everything about her writing was god-awful. So yeah, Druid time, they've only got 6 minutes until... until it's time for Molly to go to hell. It was so stupid.
Druid Time does not exist, but I did find
Nope.
a video called Druid Time, and I'm ready to party.
Oh gosh. So they go back into like the room where the dance is actually happening. Anton's trying to yell at everybody, say, "You guys gotta get out of here, it's killing everybody," and no one's listening to him. And then the lead singer of the what was
Offspring.
it? Of the Offspring is like, "Hey man, you suck, nobody likes you." Then the hand drops on his head and just pulls his scalp off from his
off.
hair. Like, whoa! And then
was
there's
brutal.
mass chaos, craziness. And then, of course, Molly ends up going through the vents, and what do you know? The hand follows her into the air vents.
Of course. It's Molly and her friend.
Yeah, Molly and her friend, I can't remember her name, something.
Lady.
Yeah. So then, they end up at this part where the only way forward is in this, like, turbo fan that's going underneath them, right? And she's just like,
so
no,
stupid.
I know what to do. Give me one of your shoes, friend. She takes her heel and just jams it in there, and instantly it stops.
Oh, yeah. The
I'm
the fan has stopped now.
The fan was powerful, too. There's no
Yeah.
way that wouldn't have just, like, cut through that whole shoe, right?
No,
Or
no.
her hand.
No, it's the world's strongest shoe.
Yeah, but I was definitely like, there's no way someone's not getting thrown into that turbo fan.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we were waiting for
yeah.
it.
So then, it's like the fan is fighting against the shoe. It's kind of wiggling against it. Jessica Alba is able to like climb down a rope.
Yeah.
Where does she get a
Yeah,
rope?
she just like grabs a rope out of nowhere.
Maybe it's part of her costume.
Wait. I have a theory. I haven't had a theory in a long time.
What's your theory?
I mostly wanted to say I had a theory.
Okay.
I was going to do a D&D joke.
Oh
'Cause
no!
you know,
She did a rope trick.
yeah, she either did rope trick or she brought with her a rope in her bag, in her thieves' tools.
Did trope trick.
Trope trick.
So she ties, I can't even remember what it was. I don't think it's an honest to God rope, but she ties something up. She's able to climb down, and then she's like, come down. And her friend's like, I can't, I'm too scared.
And at this point, we were both like, okay, she's going to climb down. She's going to get cut in half.
And then yeah, exactly. We were like, okay, so she's going to end up going like halfway down the rope and it's going to cut her, right? That's what we thought was going to happen. Then the rope starts coming back up.
Yeah.
And she's like, stop pulling on the rope. She's like,
like
I'm not
this.
pulling on the rope. Then the hand wraps it around her neck. You're like,
Yeah.
oh no, that's not what I was expecting.
No, it was brutal.
This scene throws you for a couple of curveballs,
It does,
actually.
yeah.
So it starts wrapping it around her neck and we're like, okay, so she's going to choke. So then no, she gets thrown down and she starts choking as she's hanging. Then the hand takes the heel out of the fan.
Yep.
And I thought it was going to cut the rope. No, it actually catches the rope and pulls it back up.
Sucks her up.
So sucks her back up into the
gets
fan where she's
blended.
sliced into. She gets blended thoroughly.
Yeah,
Like
like an
that
actual
was,
blend.
I was actually pretty surprised by that.
I was impressed.
Thoroughly impressed by how creative that kill was because I thought it was going to go one of a couple ways, not like that.
You can tell that they were like, okay, this is what they're expecting. Let's subvert that multiple times.
So yeah,
It felt very good.
It
and
was pretty
intentional.
great. I actually really enjoyed that bit. Then the hand ends up in like a children's room where there's a bunch of hand
Oh my
puppets.
goodness, I forgot about this.
Yeah, and so then the rest of the movie, the hand is puppeteering like this little puppet thing, right?
A creepy puppet.
A very
too.
creepy puppet, yeah. The friends end up intervening again and letting the hand disappear. And in the span of time it takes for the hand to go away from them, and they find it again, they're in like the auto shop, I guess.
Yeah.
And Jessica Alba is tied to the roof of a car.
Yep.
And there's a pentagram drawn on the ceiling. It is so, like, there was not enough time for any of this to
This
happen.
was going so fast.
It was so strange to me. But yeah, there was not enough time. So then anyway, the two stoner friends, I guess they're all stoners, but the two friends find this like mega bong that they welded together in class.
It was like they took an engine from a
Yeah,
car
yeah.
and made it into a bomb.
It was so crazy.
It was so stupid.
Because they're like fighting against the hand on this machine that is like raising the car up to the ceiling
Mm-hmm.
to crush Jessica Alba. And they're like, I'm not strong enough to stop it. They're like, get the mega weed bong, basically. And they literally say, all right, time to take your spinach. Because they give him weed.
Yeah.
Anton takes a big puff of it, and then he blows it into the hand puppet's like body, I guess, where
yeah.
the hand is. And then it was kind of weird because the eyes on the puppet changed.
Yeah.
They like rolled
Well,
back
the teeth
into its...
it had less teeth.
Yeah,
too.
it like rolled back into its head, and there were like these bloody, like these weird veins that were in the eyes.
It was pretty great.
Kind of a weird effect that I really loved, but like, weed saved the day, I guess. Again, a movie by stoners for stoners.
Marijuana saves the day.
It
It's
was-
an actual line that the Penub says.
I think so.
Yeah.
I literally think he does say that.
He does.
But yeah, so then the hand falls to the ground, and then there are so many slow motion shots in quick succession where the hand is lunging towards Anton.
Yeah.
And the paranormal investigator runs in, and she just throws her curvy dagger through the air at at the hand, into it, and also into Mick.
Yeah.
Who was unaffected by this because he's dead,
yeah,
so that's fine. Dead. But yeah, it just hits the both of them, and then like a bunch of like weird slow motion shots all cut together. And it was so strange to me. And then the hand just poof,
it gone.
It was almost like a camera flash. It was that quick, and it was kind of funny because even Mick was like, "Man, that was it. Like that was a weak kill.
Nothing happened."
It was kind of funny, and then Derek was like, "That's kind of funny that they made a nod to that, but is that kind of just a scapegoat for the fact that they didn't have some kind of crazy emotional like climactic kill?"
I feel like it was definitely a mixture of both. They're like, this will be clever, and also we don't have to come up with a crazy ending.
Yeah, so dumb. And then, for no reason at all, the paranormal investigator priestess lady is like, time for the ritualistic sex, and then takes Randy the bad boy and just runs off with him.
Yeah,
like,
that's a thing that happened.
Must just be for the paycheck, because that is a stupid...
It's so stupid.
She should have just walked away from him. He was not charming at all. He was gross. I hated that.
So now Anton and Jessica Alba are standing underneath the car.
Where she was about to get crushed, yeah.
He gets her down somehow, and like... Then
Penub like leans on the... How does... Someone moves the lever accidentally.
I think it just moves.
No, I swear it's like Penub like leans on it and then it like moves and then
yeah, it falls. Jessica Alba gets out of the way, but Anton is completely
crushed underneath.
There's no way he would live this.
No, he absolutely would have died. And then suddenly the friends are like, "Oh, look, it's the light."
Yeah.
And like the doorway of a garage or something. Then they start walking into it like, okay, guess they're just...
Are you coming, Anton?
Yeah, exactly. They look towards him. We don't see him.
But then the Penub like takes his massive bong and he's like, I could probably use this in heaven.
Oh, it's so stupid. So they walk into the light. Then you cut to a hospital where I guess Anton, who did not die, is okay somehow. And I'm like, is he a zombie? Did he actually die? I don't understand it.
But then his two friends reappear as angels.
And they're like, we're your guardian angels now. So we're here to like look after you and shit, I guess.
And they're like, you made the decision to stay in life to be with Jessica Alba. And I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah, I get it.
Who wouldn't?
I guess.
It's so dumb. And that's basically it.
Oh, until the two of them are walking out of the room, and then he looks above him, and written in the same like fluorescent paint, it says, "I'm under the bed," and he starts screaming for his friends. And then as they're walking away, they're like, "Oh, should we have told him that we had wrote that?" They're like, let him figure it out.
Let him figure it out.
Yeah, and that was it. That is the end of the movie.
I knew something happened, but I knew it wasn't anything good.
So, wow, what a movie.
So in Idle Hands 1999, you had 10 jump scares and 16 deaths.
Wow.
16 deaths.
That hand racked up quite a kill count.
I
don't think we covered all of the kills that it ended up doing, but
there was like a bunch of the dance too.
Yeah, exactly. So there were a decent amount, but 16, pretty good for one hand. All in a day's work, I guess.
All in a hand's work.
Oh, geez.
Guess you can call him a handyman.
So my expectations,
give the boy a hand.
How they ended up. I thought he was going to masturbate with the evil hand. Did not. I was actually surprised. There were actually less masturbation jokes than I was expecting. Yeah, not zero.
No.
But less than I thought.
They were there.
Yeah, for how gross the movie could have been at a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be more comedy than horror, and I'm actually happily shocked to say there was a hefty amount of horror content in this one. Like,
it was a lot.
It was like probably a fair balance of horror to comedy, but like almost more horror sometimes. It was actually pretty good for that reason.
For sure.
I thought maybe it was going to be a good time. There were definitely parts I really hated and like grossed me out about the people in this movie and their writing and the way they were just portrayed. But I did have a good time. Yeah. Honestly. I thought it was going to be too raunchy with a lot of outdated jokes. Yeah.
So much.
A lot of that. And very tropey, not in the sense that I thought. I thought it was going to be tropey in the horror sense. Yeah. But so no, not necessarily quite as tropey in the horror sense. In the stoner movie sense, absolutely so tropey. Yeah, exactly. Some things that surprised me about this movie. I gotta say, I was really surprised by the great use of practical effects. Like,
they were great.
Not only did they look pretty good, but I'd argue that at least like 80% of the effects that were used in this movie were practical. Yeah. There were hardly any like CGI'd bits in there, and they probably would have looked pretty bad. And I liked the fact that they went the practical route with all of it. So I really enjoyed it for that reason. And then I just wrote, a surprise to me is like, you don't necessarily have to like any of your protagonists to enjoy a movie. Because at the beginning of this movie, I'm like, I hate all of these men and they're gross. And I'm like, didn't end up mattering.
I didn't like anyone in this movie.
No, exactly. I didn't care for a soul in this, but I still enjoyed the movie, right?
I hated the hand, too. I was going to say that I even liked the hand, but I hated the hand, too.
No, it's strange to me. Some plot points made sense while others really didn't. So like, I liked the fact that like they could walk around as zombies because it was Halloween night. That was fine. But then like the whole bit with the priestess in druid time,
so dumb,
garbage. Hated all of that. And then my final surprise was just, it was awfully more creative than I would have assumed. Like, the stoners walking away from the light, and that's how they ended up being zombies, was actually pretty funny to me. And again, that fan kill really threw me for a spin, if you know what I mean.
Because it's a blender.
So what about you? What were your expectations?
So, I mean, I can just kind of put it all into one, because all my expectations were basically the same thing.
Right.
Like, it was gross. Like, the humor was gross. The humor was outdated. It was definitely more than slightly offensive. It was offensive. I wrote bad gore as one of my expectations, but great gore. I mean, like it's the complete opposite.
Honestly,
the gore was cool
like, really
and well
good.
used.
Yeah.
And then forced everything. And I actually wrote like a paragraph about how my expectations were all the same. And it wasn't as bad as I expected. There was actually decent moving, hiding underneath all of the weed and bad jokes.
Really, yeah. Absolutely.
And then really rough writing,
Unfortunately,
really rough writing. My surprises kind of fall along the same as you. Like, it was good. I laughed a lot. I had a great time. The practical effects were freaking fantastic.
Really, though. Blew me away a lot of the time.
Like, the kills were pretty creative and unique. Like, there was one we didn't talk about where the hand is like in the dance hall and he like breaks a metal thing that falls on a bunch of people, killing them all. Thought that was cool. It felt like Carrie a little bit for some reason.
Yeah, it seemed like there were a lot of like callbacks to like other horror movies that worked really well. They weren't very weak. It wasn't like, oh yeah, you stole it from that movie. They felt like nice, like homage to those things, but still its own unique spin.
Yeah,
which I liked a lot.
So what was your score?
My verdict here, gotta say, horrible for me. If not just for the use of great practical effects, I had a good time beyond those things that like annoyed me or like grossed me out about the characters and their writing and such. I think it's deserves a bit higher. I think I side more with the audience than the critics on this one.
And it does feel like the critics stuff is all like when the movie first came out, right?
Right.
And I feel like now everyone's pretty much on the same boat. Because also for me, Horrorble, I was entertained. The movie had creepy moments. I understand why it's rated so low. I definitely won't probably watch this one again, but it was a good time. I can recommend it to people. So if you're a fan of the genre, like this is probably one I'd say watch.
Yep.
So yeah, trivia. Wait, who's that at the door?
Wait, hold on. What's this?
Is that how? What is...
What?
What are you doing?
So, it's just Count Trivia's hand today.
Oh.
I don't know where the rest of him is, but he's handed me some cards here, so I guess I'm gonna... Thank you, hand. I don't know if this is him, or if it's his... Okay, well, I'm just gonna do it now. Okay, so... funny enough, speaking of hands, this is the same hand. So, like, after it's severed from his body, it's a different actor doing the hand, right? Yeah. It's actually the same hand that appears in the Addams Family 1991 as Thing, played by magician Christopher Hart.
Cool.
Isn't that kind of neat? I'm like, wow,
like
okay,
that.
Cool. I mean, listen, if you're a guy who's great with acting as a hand,
he's great with his hands.
Remember how we mentioned at the very beginning the opening shot reminded us of Halloween?
Yeah.
Filmed in the same neighborhood as Halloween 1978.
What?
Yep, they filmed it in the same neighborhood.
Bonkers.
And even further, the school gym where the Halloween dance is held is the same gym they used for the high school gym in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Whoa, wait a minute.
And a movie called Jawbreaker, which I don't know much about that movie. It's also from 1999. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of neat. I'm like, wow, they're using like the same sets and locations. I don't know. I thought that was really neat. We mentioned that scene where Anton was dumping a bunch of dish soap into his mouth because of the oregano and stuff. Yeah. The dish soap that he squirts into his mouth was actually real dish soap.
Oh, yeah.
Because I guess he came up with a gag on the spot, so he just did that. So he really had a bunch of dish soap in his mouth. Kind of nasty.
It's icky.
There are a lot of moments where they're watching TV and there's just some horror something on the TV. There's a bit where Mick and Penub are watching Dawn of the Dead from 1978 on TV. And there's also a bit where Anton is watching Night of the Living Dead from 1968 on TV as well. Kind of neat. Devin Sawa, who played Anton, his character is named after Anton LaVey, who is the founder of the Church of Satan.
What?
Yep. Kind of wild, right?
That's great.
And then my final one that I wrote was Rodman Flender got the job after 2 other directors dropped out. Yeah.
Wait, why did you say you wrote it?
That's fair.
Are you taking credit for Count Trivia?
No, I didn't write these. No, Count Trivia wrote these on his cards,
His hand keeps hitting me. I think he wants some of my blood.
Hold on, I think he wants me to give him a bit. Da-da-da-da. And he's gone. And he's gone. He just
Whoa.
disappeared into a puff of smoke.
That was a little anticlimactic.
It's kind of anticlimactic,
Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't really-
So, what are we watching next week, Derek?
Yeah, so Emily was talking to us how she liked that when we did Rawhead Rex,
Yes.
that Clive Barker is like a renowned director, and she liked the idea that he had a bad movie before all of his great movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she suggested that we look at some of those ones. So she looked and she found James Cameron
Mm-hmm.
did some horror movies that were not great.
Did
So-
at least a horror movie.
No, he did a couple, I think.
Did he really?
Yeah, and
Oh, gosh.
this was his worst rated one. So we're going to be watching Piranha 2.
Piranha 2. We're just going to skip straight past the first one. Don't need it. Don't bother.
Well, the first one wasn't done by James Cameron.
Yeah, exactly,
so-
right? So, yeah. Join us next week to find out what we thought about Piranha 2 by the wonderful James Cameron of Avatar fame.
Avatar. He also did that movie about that big boat. I think it was Ghost Ship.
Ghost Ship.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was definitely a Cameron.
Hey, so I have a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, what's up?
I see a white light right there, and I think I should probably walk towards it.
You walk for me. It's so far
so
away.
far. Well, maybe next week I'll walk towards it.
All right, catch us next week where we walk into the light.
It's so far.
Goodbye.